All right, well, I think I'll make a start. I just wanted to say hello, I'm Anna Butler, the principal, very proud principal of our school. I just wanted to introduce you all to the fantastic teachers of the Barnaaga Hub, and they're going to tell you all about the hub and what's going on for your children this year. So I'd like to welcome Kerry Matter, Kate Tischler, Clive Cox, and Katie Sly, who are going to take you through a presentation this evening and hopefully answer all of your questions. If you don't find your questions answered, we have a little Q&A at the bottom of the screen, and you can add your questions in at the end, and the team will stay on for a few minutes at the end to answer those questions, whether it be live or in the Q&A box. So I'll hand over to Kerry without further ado, who's supervising our Barnaaga Hub, and allow Kerry to start off and provide information for you all this evening. Enjoy the presentation.
Thank you, Mrs. Butler. Welcome and good evening to our families of the Barnaaga Hub. I'd like to welcome you to our Meet the Teacher webinar. My name is Mrs. Kerry Matter. I am the Assistant Principal, Relieving Assistant Principal for Stage 2 this year, and I'm also one of the Hub teachers, the Barnaaga Hub teachers. I'd like to acknowledge the Darug people as the traditional custodians of this land and recognise the continuing connection to land, water and community, and we pay our respects to them and their culture, and to elders past and present. May they hold the memories, the traditions, the culture and hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples across the nation. Might just go through our agenda for the evening. We'll start with an introduction of our teachers. That will be done by myself. We'll then go into, Then we'll go into our all about our hub environment, which will be led by Ms. Tischler. Also have our hub, our learning approach in our hub, which will be led by myself. We also have our curriculum for semester 1, be led by Ms. Sly and Ms. Tischler. We also will be speaking about our wellbeing and the wellbeing focus of the school, our total behaviour and 5 basic needs, which will be led by Ms. Tischler. We have our talking about library will be about Mr. Cox. Talking about our homework will be myself. Our technology and bring your own devices by Ms. Sly. We'll be speaking about NAPLAN, the ICAT test and second assessments, as well as sport, stage sport, PWSA, zone sport, which will be led by Mr. Cox. And then any communication with us teachers will be led by myself. And then if you have any questions or that you'd like to ask us about, if you haven't answered anything that, well, haven't gone through anything that we have gone through the agenda and you've still got questions, at the end, if you could please pick those and we'll kindly respond to those at the end. We also have a post-event survey, which the QR code will pop up, and it's just some information for us teachers to have just some data and information that we can use moving forward for the rest of the year. We might begin. The introduction of teachers. We might just give a big hello to our amazing teachers of the hub. We first have Ms. Kate Tischler.
Hi everyone, nice to virtually see you. Shame that we aren't on site, but I am looking forward to working with all of you and your students this year, as well as our wonderful colleagues.
Thank you, Ms. Tischler. We also have Ms. Katie Sly.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining. And like Kate said, I'm really looking forward to working with you and your children and just getting to know them this year.
Thank you, Ms. Sly. And we have the amazing Mr. Cox.
Hi everybody, my name is Mr. Cox. Really looking forward to this year with Barnaaga Hub.
Thank you, teachers. We might move on to our hub environment. Oh, you've got your mute and Ms. Tischler.
I was just going to say we also have Mrs. Matter.
Myself, and yes, I'm very excited to be part of this amazing school and this amazing hub learning environment, and getting to know each and every one of your special, beautiful children, which we've already started to, and we're already enjoying the amazing beginning to this year. So looking forward to it.
So today, I'm just going to quickly run through some of our exciting hubs. As many of you are aware, we are no longer in the traditional classroom setting as such. So we are in what we call our learning hub. So this is a bit of a snapshot of what the classroom looks like with the 4 teachers and with all the students that are with us. So we have a 4 class groups with 4 teachers, as you're already aware, and we have access to outdoor learning spaces. So as you can see, they can access the balcony. We are on the top level of Block B, and they can access the balcony, which we are intending on utilising as additional learning spaces once we can arrange that. So it's a large space, and we do have some photos. We do have quite a lot of modern flexible furnishing. So this allows students to work either at tables, on chairs, on the flexible chairs on the floor, at lap desks. We have an astonishing range of resources that are available to us. So if we go to the next slide, one of the things that we are really promoting, we have been, I'm not sure if the next slides come up on, yep, there we go. So we have been doing a lot of research around Thornburg's learning spaces. So we have these posters displayed up in all areas of our learning hub to basically really emphasize that learning can take place in a matter of forms, regardless of the environment. So we don't necessarily need to be in a classroom as such to be learning. So we acknowledge the campfire space, and that's learning and a gathering place for students to learn from an expert. And experts are not necessarily teachers. They could be parents coming in sight. They could be experts from external agencies. We had Wires, for example, come in last year and do a lot of work with Stage 1. So the campfire is a big one that we have. We've also got the watering hole. So informal space where peers can share information and discoveries. Shared space can serve as an incubator of ideas and promote a sense of shared culture. So this really is an opportunity. And again, these learning spaces can happen at any part of the hub. And we just provide those and help guide students through them. So this is kind of like students working together, providing peer and self-feedback. Then we have the cave, which is a private space for individuals to think, reflect, and transform their learning. So this is more solely focused on that self-reflection and that self-feedback, sorry. We have the life space, and this space is to apply knowledge in the real world and a place to reinforce our understanding. And we are doing a lot of that with our project-based learning, which you'll hear about a little later, where students are learning different skills and concepts and strategies, and they're applying them to situations that could really benefit them in the real world. They're doing it for a real purpose that is authentic to them and meaningful, which is fantastic. We also have the mountaintop, a place where one person or a group communicates towards the rest of the world using what they have learnt. And that's a bit of a sharing kind of space. And we anticipate on using a lot of that towards the end of our PBL or project-based learning project that you'll find out later about. So again, even though we are in the one hub, there is a lot of opportunity for students to go off, work with separate teachers. We come back, we have that campfire space. There's opportunities for students to work with a peer, and that's that watering hole setting where they're talking with each other, they're learning from each other, gaining feedback from each other. But there's also opportunities for them to, again, use the cave, they're self-reflecting, and sharing again as a whole group and presenting what they've gained or what they've learned as within the mountaintop kind of space. So these are the real learning spaces that each hub within Denham Court are promoting, and they've been proving quite beneficial, which is really exciting for the environment that we're in. So if we go to the next slide, this will give us a bit of an overview of the different types of furniture. So we are very, very, very lucky to have the types of equipment and resources that we do. We've got flexible furniture, jelly bean tables, wobble stools, whiteboard surfaces. So students are able to just write straight onto those tables using whiteboard texts. And that's a quick mental strategy that they can use, particularly in maths, you know, good, quick, let's scribble it down. There's tiered seating, nooks, bag hooks. And then we've also got a range of learning resources, including stationery, art supplies, reading books for our quiet area, and literacy and numeracy resources that are stage appropriate and hands-on. And cater to have a specific range of play resources. So those coming from year 2 to year 3 might be familiar with that. We no longer have that in 3 to 6. However, we do provide mindfulness activities where students have the opportunity to engage in that social interaction with each other, with activities such as, you know, using Lego to create an activity, yoga and the such. We also have a wide range of technology. We've got interactive whiteboards, 4 to be exact, which are quite flexible and can be moved around the entire learning hub with ease. We also have a range of iPad devices, and we are just finalising our total hub collection for that. So hopefully we'll be able to have iPads up and running. We are aware of all the kids. They're quite excited with their BYOD. They bring their own devices. So we'll continue setting those up for students so that they're going to be easily used in all learning areas. And we also do have a set of Chromebooks. So these, again, are resources that are going to help students to engage in a lot of research and a lot of work this year. So that's quite exciting what we've been provided with. Next are some of the photos. We've just taken a quick collection of the photos just from around our specific learning hub. So as you can see, this is the top level of Barnaaga on the top left-hand side. Students line their bags up. There are also nooks. We are currently organised into temporary homerooms. So students will have been allocated a temporary homeroom teacher. These are yet to be finalised, however, just with roles and student enrollment still coming through. But basically students have a specific area where they will hang their bags. They've got tote trays, which we'll see a little later, that they can store all their things in. Up on the top right hand, we've got the presentation space. As you can see, some of that flexible furniture. We've got balls for sitting on. The students love those. We've got seats we've got lap desks, a range of materials there. Down on the bottom left-hand side, that is our iPad sign-in trolley. So this is in a separate little nook of our learning hub. And this is where students who are bringing their own device to school log in, but you'll find out a little more information about that later. On the bottom right-hand side is our wet area. So this is primarily being used at the moment for those sorts of art craft activities, but we also utilise this space for a number of other purposes. Students are able to go in that area flexibly to do their maths, to do their writing, to do their reading. On the next slide, up on the top left, you can see that is our entrance where we come in. The students will gather. We have that campfire space right there in the centre. You can see it a bit better there on the bottom left. That's our campfire space where we meet collectively. Up the top on the right space, we've just got another part of our learning hub where students can work. And down on the bottom right, you can see another space too where students are able to go through and work. So as you can see, it is quite a large space. A lot of different furniture, a lot of areas for students to engage in, not only group work, but independent and small group work. So it is very, very exciting what we have been provided with, and the students are just loving it. It's been fantastic. So we are excited to get things up on the walls to make it more of our Barnaaga home. At the moment, you can see it is a little bit bare, but throughout the year, I'm sure we'll fill it up and make it our home with all your children. So we're quite excited for that. On the next slide, I think. Yep, so this resource list was sent home earlier on in the year. So thank you to those parents that have supplied students in year 3 and 4 with their own pencil case. We do have a supply of pencils for those students that do require them. But students have their own tote trays where they put their crunch and sip in, they put their hat, and they also put in their workbooks and pencil case should they have it. We do ask for the following items: HB lead pencils. We are currently in the process of starting to hand out a few pen licenses, and the students are loving this. So at the moment, we are only asking that students write with blue or red pen, not black at this stage. 30 centimetre ruler, again, we do have those on supply for those that might need them. Coloured pencils, textures, an eraser, small sharpener, glue stick, scissors, headphones to use with iPads and computers. Even though you might not be providing a BYO device, and we've got those iPads here, we do encourage students to bring their own headphones just for sanitary reasons, and a waterproof library bag if you don't already have one, and 2 highlighters. So these resources are just a suggestion, and they can already bring in resources that they've been using for the last school year. But, and again, another thank you we wanted to pass on to those parents who have been sending in donations of paper towel, hand sanitizer, and hand pump soap. We haven't put out a direct request for that. We seem to have a good supply, but a thank you to those parents that have been donating those. Just for your reference, we thought that we'd provide you with our time schedule. I know that sometimes parents want to get in contact with us, and sometimes we're on class. So when we get back to you, it'll probably be during our lunch or recess break, if not before or after school. So our playground opens up at 8:40, but because of COVID, students are going straight up to their classrooms. So students are in classrooms from 8:40 till 9:10, and that's when we start our morning session. The first break is at 11. They have eating time for about 10 minutes, and then they are out on the playground until 11:40. We do sit with them and do supervise and encourage them to make sure that they are pulling out their lunch, their sandwiches, and eating what you have provided for them. And then our second break, or our recess break, is at 1 o'clock. Again, 10 minutes for eating time, and then they're on the playground for half an hour after that till 1:40. So just a reminder for bits and pieces, in terms of lunch boxes and hats and water bottles, if you could please make sure that we are labeling them. We are having an influx of students just losing property at the moment. So we do appreciate the easiness of being able to locate students' belongings. And in terms of crunch and sip, that is still occurring. That occurs during our morning session, and it's roughly an hour into the session. At this point, in terms of pickup for the end of day, we are still going with the staggered approach, but more information regarding that will come later as it changes. So I think that's all from me in terms of our hub setup. So I hope I've covered it all.
Thank you, Ms. Tisler. I'll now be talking about our approach to learning. I know some of you probably have lots of questions thinking, you know, how would my teachers go and accommodate to every single student. As a parent myself, I will be definitely asking these questions as well. With the experience of a flexible and co-teaching environment, a flexible learning space with a large amount of students, our main point, or our main teaching style would be through explicit teaching. So students would explicitly be taught various practices through their literacy and numeracy, as well as all other KLAs, which is the other key learning areas, science, as well as PDH, geography, history, and our creative arts. All lessons will be modelled and taught by the hub teachers, which then will provide opportunities for the students to replicate that approach in those lessons. We'll be tracking each student's ability through various assessments. So we always begin with assessing the students and where they are, which then will cater to the needs of those students through literacy and numeracy. And they'll be put into normal groups like they would in a normal classroom setting that you would be previously exposed to a normal classroom setting. So through these assessments will be targeted the needs and catered to the student's ability. We might have smaller groups with one teacher teaching that, with the explicit teaching happening, or we might put 2 hub teachers in one group, depending on the needs of the students. They will be fortnightly reviewed, these groups, which will allow that flexible and fluid movement to happen. So we'll sit down as a hub teachers fortnightly to look over their work samples and also speak about how they're going in the group. So then we could then really cater to that need and be able to also support any learning needs they might have, or also extend students that require to do so. That would be those groups, ability groups would be through literacy and numeracy, like I said. We'll also have the approach of project-based learning, which is a dynamic and flexible pedagogy that will look very different in every classroom. With our classroom, we'll, be driving with those real-world questions and issues that we think we can make that change. Students will have to work collaboratively, be those critical thinkers, and try and make that change in the world, or might change that, see change in the classroom and see change in our school. So I guess have that, it's driven by student voice, that each student will have that voice to be heard and make that change that they think, and promote that deeper thinking and deeper learning, which then creates that quality engagement from the students and creates high expectations and quality work. It can be taught through many key learning areas. So we plan as teachers and then pose questions to students, which then they drive as in collaborative groups and work through a process to meet our outcomes. Any other questions that you may have regarding teaching or the ability of teaching, please get in contact with myself. We'll be more than happy to answer any more questions about this. We might move on to the next slide. So we might talk through the curriculum for semester 1 this slide.
Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick rundown of what we will be covering this semester. So first of all, for English, we're going to be looking at writing and representing. So that is just where we get students, they're going to be planning, composing and reviewing a range of texts that are starting to become more demanding in terms of the topic, the audience, so who they're writing for, and also the language that they are using in their written text. We will also be doing reading and viewing. So now they're in stage 2, they will be using an increasing range of skills, strategies, and knowledge to fluently read, view, and comprehend texts. And they will start to get a bit more challenging. So for reading and writing, the students will be put in ability groups, and this will be based on the data we've collected and through assessments, but also through our observations. But just because the students are put in one group doesn't mean they're in that group forever. They will constantly swap and change, just depending on their needs at a certain point in time. There's also speaking and listening, and this one actually is sort of linked with all the KLAs. So just the way that they speak to the group and also their listening skills. In numeracy, we have our whole number, and that covers things like place, value. You have your addition and subtraction, multiplication and division, patterns and algebra. Then we move on into measurement, where we look at our length, area, position, 2D space. We have our angles and our data. So that's also our statistics and probability. But we also have the working mathematically, so the way they communicate, their problem solving, and also their reasoning. For creative arts this semester, we're going to focus on drama and visual arts, and we teach the skills in those 2 areas, but we also link it with our other KLAs. For geography, we're looking at the Earth's environment, and in science, its living world. For personal development and health, we're looking at how does who I am influence others. And at the moment, we have linked that with our project-based learning, our project. So they're looking at what makes them unique, and we are creating at the moment like a hub mural, so to celebrate our uniqueness and us coming together as a hub. For PE, we are focusing on target practice. So the students will look at different skills focused on the different skills for target, and they will rotate through the different teachers. But I'm sure Mr. Cox will probably explain that a bit better later on. Then I think we have our extracurricular activities, and I think Ms. Tischler was going to explain that to everyone.
So thanks, Ms. Sly. So extracurricular this year, we've got a range of activities and groups. I'm currently leading that committee and working with a range of colleagues K to 6. So groups are yet to be formed and commenced due to COVID restrictions. Parents will be notified, however, once we are able to have these up and running. But just going according to many of the student enrolments that we had last year, we saw that band was one that came out quite prominently. So we do have a K to 6 band. It is in the very early stages of just planning on what that is going to look like at this stage, but it probably will be an outside of school hours, either before or after school, and that will be led by Mr. Fatuli and Miss O'Leary. So Mr. Fatuli is on stage 1 and Miss O'Leary is on stage 3. So we'll have a range of expertise within those staff members leading that. We aren't at this stage sure of what it will look like, but hopefully we'll have a bit of an idea. And as the weeks go by, we'll be able to put forward some information for parents regarding that. Again, once COVID restrictions do lift, we will have a 3 to 6 dance troupe, and that is being led by Miss McDonald, who is on stage 3. We will have a 3 to 6 choir group, which will be led by myself. And Miss Sly has offered to take up a chess club, which will be really, really exciting. I know chess is not a strength of mine and something that I'm sure I can learn from Miss Sly and the students. We do have a whole range of other creative art committees that are working at a whole school level. We've got 3 to 6 public speaking, which will come up a little later, and that's going to be organised by Miss Lai, who is on early stage 1 or kindergarten, and supported by Mrs. O'Brien, who's one of our librarians working on 3 to 6. We have a visual arts team, and this is being led by Miss Fishbar. And we are currently organising, as part of that committee, our involvement with what we call Operation Art. So more information about that will follow. And we also have a drama team, which is led by Miss Johnson, and she'll be supporting whole school initiatives again in terms of drama. We do have down on stage 1, we do have one of the teachers that has offered to take a K to 2 lunch group for Indian dance. At this stage, because our lunch times are different from K to 2, she is going, the teacher that has been assigned to that, she is just going to focus on K to 2 for Indian dance. And we're hoping that depending on how we see it go, we might opt in for an after school or before school Indian dance group as well for 3 to 6, but that wouldn't be until later towards the end of the year. But there are a lot of opportunities for students to get involved with extracurricular, and I know that they already have a range and a variety of experiences and capabilities that they're excited to bring in. So I'm very excited to be part of the creative arts team at Denham Court and look forward to working with all your children. So now I'm going to run us through the well-being. I think this was me. Is that right?
It was. If you need any support, I'm more than happy to jump in.
Oh, no, that's okay. The screens look different on my end. That's why. Many apologies. It was on the previous screen. All good. My computer lagged. So here we have Miss Butler and the executive team last year worked with a graphic designer to create these 5 beautiful little logos or mascots, if you will, that represent the 5 needs that we are focusing on at Denham Court. So at Denham Court, we are actually working under Sarah Rudling, who is an ex-principal and now founder of a company called 3C Consultancy. And basically, we've been working with Sarah to really understand children's behaviour and their needs. So choice theory is what we underpin most of our student wellbeing. And it is a theory that is useful for understanding and managing our own behaviour. In a nutshell, for us to manage and understand our own behaviour, it comes down to teaching the students about their needs. So primarily, there are 5 fundamental needs. Freedom, which is belonging and connectedness, not only with among their peers and within their class, but within their families and within the wider community. We have power, which you can see on the far right. So this is the need to feel confident and in control. Most people tend to see power as a negative as a negative element. It's not. It's talking about power over, but power within and power among. So working together as a team, collaborating, that those needs come in there. In the middle, we have love. Oh, sorry, I did skip freedom, didn't I? I got confused with where I was up to. Sorry, guys. So love and belonging, as I described before, was belonging and connectedness. We do have freedom. This is the freedom to and freedom from the ability to make choices. We also have fun, which is play and amusing oneself within novelty. And we also have survival. So these are our basic physiological needs, including the need to drink, the need to be clothed, the need to be fed. So basically, Glasser, who is the psychologist behind choice theory, proposed that in order for us to achieve these 5 needs, we will behave in a certain way. Now, each student, and Glasser acknowledged this, each student, each person, adult alike as well, have different needs profiling. So for one person, their need of freedom might be much stronger than their need for fun, versus another person or another student, their need for love and belonging might be a little higher than power or freedom. So we have been working with some students to profile these needs, because this helps us to understand behaviour in the classroom, because most behaviours, all behaviours, sorry, are an attempt to meet one of these 5 needs. So we have been working with, I might just scroll to the next one, if that's okay. Thank you. So basically, we have a total behaviour car, and we've been using this analogy with students to show that in order for us to achieve or to gain our primary needs, that our acting and thinking are the direction of the car. So if our direction steers off because our needs are not primarily being met, that shows a change in behaviour. And as a result, students' feeling and physiology might change. And this is not a quick change as such, or a change that students might be able to verbalise. However, their behaviour is reflective of the acting and the thinking. So we understand that behaviour, by working with Sarah Rudling and by understanding Glasser's choice theory, we are learning about behaviour and helping students to understand their own behaviour. We are putting a focus upon internal validation and internal reward as opposed to external reward. So at Denham Court, we do not have a merit system, because we do encourage students to seek that internal happiness. So as such, we do encourage, though, this is not to say we are not acknowledging students' successes and achievements. We most certainly are. We are just doing it in a more hub environment, and we're encouraging students to select the ways that they do celebrate their achievements, which is really taking a bit of time, but the students are starting to make a shift, and they are being able to identify things in terms of their acting, their thinking, that drive their car. So when their car is off road, so to speak, their behaviour is not in accordance with meeting one of their 5 primary needs. So we are really going through and explicitly teaching the needs, the analogy of the car, and how our car is driving in response to us achieving our individual needs, and moving from that. So at this point, we do also acknowledge that, you know, apart from rare exceptions like situations of fear and panic, we are generally in control of our own actions. And, you know, understanding behaviour does not necessarily mean, doesn't mean, that we are excusing disrespectful or hurtful actions. Instead, it's helping us as educators to guide students in making a conscious choice about how we behave. And, you know, taking time with students, you know, to sit down and talk about what were they thinking, how were they acting, and in turn, how were they feeling on the inside, and really guiding behaviour from there. So I hope that gives us a bit of an overview of our wellbeing policy at Denham Court Public School. Within our own hub, we have been working a lot on really identifying the needs and describing the analogy of the car, but we've also put together our agreed expectations. So we did this as a collective, and these were the general expectations. We haven't We don't want to use the word rules as such, because we wanted students to really have a voice over this as well, and to feel power in implementing these within the classroom. So we're, as a class, as a hub, the students put together that they, think it's important to listen to the teachers when they are speaking and being respectful, following all instructions given, placing all equipment in the correct spot, keeping hands and feet to ourselves, being kind and helpful, asking permission to leave the hub, looking after all our furniture and classroom resources as well as each other's property, moving around the room and using all furniture or equipment safely and sensibly, and being an active learner who never gives up, being truthful and honest always. So we thought this was a beautiful collection of statements that the students put together. And this is part of them part of our students working together, fulfilling that need, I guess, of belonging and creating a hub that is their own. So we do look forward, and we can understand that there probably are many questions regarding this. So again, if there are anything that we can clarify, just put them up in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them. But that is an overview of the Denham Court Wellbeing policy.
All right, so I'll jump in and talk a little bit about the library. So our beautiful library is part of our RFF, which is our teacher release program. And it is managed by our teacher librarians, Mrs. Bryant and Mrs. Timmins. It is located above the administration block. And at the moment, our hub borrowing day is Thursday. So on Thursdays, students need to bring a sturdy waterproof bag, such as the ones that you can purchase from Pickles. So that's required to borrow books. And I have already seen a few of the students have got those bags for borrowing. So thank you so much to the teachers to the parents, who have organised that. So inside the library, we have a beautiful space with an auditorium with podium seating. We also have flexible learning spaces, much similar to what we have in our hub. We have a growing collection of resources that Mrs. Bryan and Mrs. Timmins are working on collating at the moment, and it is ever growing. And the library will play host to book week celebrations this year, as well as the Scholastic Book Club. And it will also have student library monitors, which will be in there as well. So just have a look at the pictures that we've provided for the library. It's an absolutely beautiful space that we've got there. The kids love going there. They love choosing their books and moving around the spaces as they need as well. So if you've got any questions on the library at all, just feel free to pop them into the chat as well, and we're more than happy to answer them. But for now, we'll move on to homework.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Yep, so our, as a hub and as stage 2, might just go into the next slide, Mr. Cox, please. Yep, so homework is beneficial and will meet the realistic expectations of students, teachers, parents, and caregivers. It allows practicing and consolidating work that's done in the classroom, but it provides students with training and planning and organising time, which also develops skills in identifying and using information resources. It establishes habits of study, concentration, and self-discipline. For stage 2 and our hub homework for Barnaaga, this term we are looking at each student to read 20 minutes each night from a book of their choice. So it might be a book that they've borrowed from the library, or it might be a book that's given to us through their reading groups that they will then try and monitor that 20 minutes each reading a night, which extends their vocabulary as well as them understanding what the book is about. As well, we're looking for we are providing a login to Mathletics activities, which also those logins will be provided soon. If you need any help getting onto that, please contact the hub teachers and we're there to support that. What's something really exciting that we are planning for stage 2 this year is a science passion project. The students will have the opportunity to showcase their project at a stage 2 science fair. So more information will be provided in the coming weeks about that.
Okay, so I'm just going to quickly talk about the BYOD, so bring your own device. So students in years 3 to 6 have been invited to bring an iPad to school. And this is because classroom programs throughout the year have been designed to support the integration of technology. So this is why we would really appreciate your support of this program. However, we do understand that for some people, it's just not possible to allow your students to bring a device. So in that case, we do have iPads and computers that the students can use. However, they will just have to share them and sort of wait their turn. So if your child is bringing a device, it needs to be in a protective case, and they do need to be fully charged before they come to school, because students are not allowed to bring their own chargers, only because we don't have the space for them to start charging up all their devices. So in the mornings when they bring them, there is, if you go to the next slide, you can see in the picture on the left, that's where they have to sign it in. So in the morning, they come straight in, they allocate a number for themselves, and then they will tick that it's in. And then you can see in the trolley with the numbers, they would then place it in that tray. And then throughout the day when they use their iPad, they will go to their tray, use that. When they're done, they have to put it straight back into the tray. Then at the end of the day, they will collect their iPad, they will tick that they've taken that, and they put it straight in their bag. So if there's any devices that are left, then we know whose device they belong to as well, and we know where they're keeping them. We do ask that the iPads are a 6 or above, so then that supports a minimum iOS 14, only because many apps will not run on an earlier iOS. And I think that's pretty much it. We did send some notes home with all the apps that we would like them to download. If you're still not sure, we can give your students another note with all that information on that.
I'll be talking about NAPLAN and the ICAS test, as well as the checking assessment. So just go to the next slide, Mr. Fox, please. The NAPLAN test will serve for Year 3 students only, and this will be between the 11th and 20th of May this year. Our students will have in our hub the opportunity to practice text questions and familiarise themselves with the test layout. More information regarding NAPLAN will be provided to you closer to the date. We will also be conducting a checking assessment for Year 4 only, which will occur in Term 1, and the date will be advised of this. This checking assessment's more, the assessment provides data for us classroom teachers, so we can then determine and track students' learning needs and any abilities and cater to the needs of the Year 4 students. The ICAS assessment is designed to recognise academic excellence. Students will be assessed based on their ability to apply classroom learning to new contexts and higher order thinking and problem solving skills. These assessments are for Year 4 students, and again, more information will be provided closer to the date. Just keep an eye out. If you've got any questions about the NAPLAN, please contact one of us teachers, and I'm sure they're more than happy to help them answer any questions that you might have regarding this. Thanks.
Okay, and so then with sport, so Denoncourt Public School is part of the newly created MacArthur Zone for our sport. So for sport, our school students will need to wear their sports shirt and appropriate footwear. And our sport day at the moment is on Friday mornings, or actually for the rest of the year. And these students will be learning skills and team participation. There will also be various clinic days offered throughout 2022 and many other opportunities for our students to get involved in. So our stage sport, like I said before, is on Friday mornings, and it will aim to meet outcomes determined by the PDHPE syllabus. So by the end of stage 2, students will be able to recognise physical and social changes and personal management strategies, and they will recognise their personal strengths and apply these to a wide range of contexts. This term we're looking to apply this through a wide range of sports, focusing on target practice, which was talked about in the previous slides. But as the year progresses, we'll move into other sports such as athletics, ball sports, gymnastics, and invasion games. So just to go back to the target practice before, so we're looking at a range of sports like t-ball, cricket, not softball, ticker tag, handball, dodgeball, and a few other sports and games as well. So our PSSA gala days and school carnivals for 3 to 6 will be summer sports, split into summer sports and winter sports. So our winter sports will be rugby league, hockey, which is mixed, netball mixed, soccer for girls and boys, and then AFL will be mixed as well. And our summer sports will be t-ball, league tag, touch football, girls cricket, boys cricket, and mixed cricket. And also throughout this year, we'll have our cross country and our athletics carnival, but those dates will be determined later on, and we'll let you know.
If any communication that you might have with the teachers, the best way to contact us will be through email to the office. Just please be mindful. We're more than happy to take your call as soon as we get the chance, usually between 8 to 4:30. When speaking with the office ladies, just give them a quick rundown of if it's regarding any items or materials that they might have misplaced, or something regarding the students' learning. Just give us sort of a subject, so then we know and try and call you back as soon as we can. Give a bit more information to what we need to call back about. If you also contact and have any updates through the school, I think it's on the next page, Mr. Cox. We have any information will be provided through School Loop app. So if you wanted to download that, just go to the Apple App Store or the Play Store and look for the School Loop. Those that you could then assign to the Barnaaga or the Stage Years 3 and 4 platform, which then we will then send out updates about what's happening, and also lots of communication around the school will be sent out through School Loop. As well as we have our Facebook page, our school Facebook page, and our at Denham Court Instagram page. If you have any questions about today's Meet the Teacher session or webinar, if you could put it into the chat, us teachers are more than happy to provide any questions that you may have to the best of our ability and to be able to support you. We also have a post survey link, which will if you scan the QR code, this link provides questions that we've created that I guess to get a bit of background data about tonight's webinar, as well as any concerning issues or something that you would love for us to know about your child, so then we can understand them and support you the best way we can. I hope you enjoyed today's and got lots of information out of it. Like we said at the beginning, we are so excited and so happy to have such a beautiful, amazing school to work in, and a beautiful hub that's well resourced, but also just get to know and create that sense of belonging and sense of trust in our hub, that each student feels safe and comfortable to come and learn and grow in each day. Did you want to say anything, Ms. Butler?
Yes, Kerry, I just wanted to let parents know, I noticed throughout this evening, some people clicked the raise the hand button, but what I wanted to ask people to do is if they actually have a question, could they pop it into the Q&A? And there's a couple of questions coming up now. One of the questions Kate's answering now is, will there be an app where we can communicate with the class teacher and where teachers can post hub activities? Yes, there definitely will be. In the last newsletter that I put out, I actually mentioned that we are waiting maybe not so patiently now, but we're waiting patiently for LinkEd Hero, which is a great app that combines all of the needs that we have as a school in connecting with parents. And it's been delayed. The approval of that has been delayed because the department is focusing more on COVID related activity. But we will be hopefully being able to launch that by the end of this term, I'm hoping. If not, then early next term. We keep in contact with the LinkEd Hero people, and we're ready to go as soon as the government just ticks that last little box to approve. It's a brand new application that we'll be one of the first schools in Australia to use. But it does combine, you know, connecting the kids and the teachers and the parents together in terms of developing learning goals for the students, and then each child uploading how they're meeting those goals and sharing their learning with their parents. So it really is an excellent application, and we are waiting very patiently for that. The webinar will be recorded, has been recorded, and we'll probably put those up so that make it available to people in the near future, so that you can then see anything that you might have missed or recoup. I also had a question earlier from a parent asking whether we would have a meet the teacher each semester, each term, and the answer is no. This is special at the beginning of the year for just to introduce the teachers to you. Any further updates will probably be done in written form. So we'll put out through Barnaaga's information channel on School Loop, we'll put out a list of what the learning will be for next term or next semester. There's a question here, Kerry, is the class, Kate's replying to that one. The next one is, are we getting any worksheets as homework? Can you expand on that, Kerry?
The stage 2 science project that we'll have, that will come in a booklet. So that will be a learning journal. So that will track their, I guess, their reflections and their learning as they go through their science projects, which will then, you know, be, I guess, working with the teachers as well as the families to keep them accountable and on task for their with their projects. But no, we won't be providing other worksheets. If there's unfinished work that they will usually be providing through Google Classroom. If they have any work that they might not have finished in the classroom, they can always go back and complete that work. But our main focus is that they do read every night, and they have the access to mathletics and all the activities through that, and keep on that with that science fair project. That will take a bit of time to get through, and I'm sure it will be amazing once they complete that and feel that accomplishment. Just another thing with sport, I know we mentioned a variety of sports with PWSA. They're not locked in as those sports. It just depends on the range of students, the chosen sports that they all choose to do. So that might change each year and might change each PWSA as well.
There was a question being about how to find out how the kids are going in class. So this evening's presentation was particularly just to introduce teachers and the learning that will be occurring in the hub. In future, if you'd like some specific information about your child, it's a good idea, as Mrs. Matter already said, is to send an email to the school. The office staff will send that through to the teachers, and we'll be able to make a booking for a meeting. In answer to some parents, yes, you're able to come in and have meetings about students, or you can talk on the phone. Anything that's to do with actual learning is becoming less and less restricted. We are hoping that we can get our parents on board later this year to be able to come in and see some of the hubs and the learning. But again, we have to wait until restrictions are further lifted. So if anyone, at the moment, the only way to contact the classroom teacher is through email. But later, when we have LinkEd Hero, our app for joining home and school together, then we will be able to address different questions about learning through that app. But at the moment, we're still waiting for that. To find out about your child's literacy level, you need to make send a message to the school, and then the school will send it to the teachers, and the teachers will get in contact with you about your child. Well, Miss Tischler is writing an answer to the last question. Hopefully parents have had time to do the post-survey, post-webinar survey, so that we will know what else we need to include in future seminars or webinars, I should say. Thank you so much to the teaching staff of Barnaaga this evening for your time and your effort in putting this together. Remember, parents, we have recorded it, and we'll let you know when these recordings will be available so that you can review them at another time or see things that you've missed out on. And updates about curriculum will be put out in written form later on in the year, probably for semester 2, since we have already found out a bit more about semester 1. So thank you very much, and good evening, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.